Now, fig trees bear figs every year. But for 3 years, there's been no fruit on this particular fig tree. The tree is not producing. And so the owner bluntly says, cut it down. Let's just get rid of it. What good is it? It's just dying on the vine. And could this be a story about us? God, our Creator, wants us to bear fruit, to share a witness, to exhibit passion for the Christian faith. And in direct comparison, all too often, sad to say, there's a limited amount of fruit. And among some, there is no fruit. And the very hard question to ask is a very simple question. What will God do with us? In discussing his ministry, this pastor from Liberia asked another friend of mine from the United States how many baptisms he had done in the last year. Baptisms, my friend replied, I guess last year I did 2. 2, the pastor from Africa said. Only 2, and you are still in ministry? You have kept on preaching even with such little response? That God comes looking for fruit. God comes looking for passionate, humble, sacrificing servants. God comes looking for people who exhibit kindness, joy, charity, justice, and love for God and love for one another. And when God comes and finds none, will God say, cut it down? We're just going to stop this once and for all. Maybe the tree ought to be cut down. Maybe the church should be eliminated. Is it worth it anymore? Christianity just isn't as popular as it once was. And the owner of the vineyard is perfectly justified in his negative judgments of the tree. Why do you have the tree or the vineyard if not to bear fruit? And if we use the same logic, isn't God perfectly within God's rights to ask the same question of us? Why can't we seem to get our act together and really be what we claim to be? Yet, as the story reminds us, due to the pleading of the servant, there is still time. Will Rogers once wrote, Methodist preachers are a lot like manure. Spread them around and they'll do a lot of good. Pile them together in one place and they'll get to stinking. Maybe so. Maybe so. Our job here in this wonderful merger of these two congregations and this wonderful life that you're having together, our job is not just to celebrate what's happening in these pews. Our job is to find strength together so that we can bear fruit in this part of God's world. Your witness matters. Your kindness makes a difference. The surprising ways that you love someone that's not lovable, forgive someone that's not forgivable, will turn people's heads and will cause them to say, what is it about that crazy person? They seem to love everyone. If we decide in this space that we're going to, with purpose, spread ourselves around, can you imagine the impact and influence that it would have? Goodness, kindness, and the foundations of the Christian faith will not be planted in our communities just because we want it to. It'll happen because you've decided to be a vessel of Jesus wherever you go. Well, today I invite you to imagine that Jesus himself is speaking to us. Imagine Jesus saying these words. You know, God's been tempted to end it all. Pretty frustrating dealing with things in the world and in the church lately. But here's the word. You still have some time to get it all together. Work hard. Don't delay. Share my love at all costs. Tell about me in the community. Stand for causes that will be consistent with the gospel. Baptize new converts. Do a really good job with those confirmands. Transform the world with a message of hopefulness, peace, grace, and love. Don't waste your time. How about going and bearing some fruit? How about doing it today? When will the fig tree be torn down? In God's good time. In the meantime, renew your body, mind, and soul for the challenging days that lie ahead. Loosen the soil of your heart. Spread some fertilizer of strong faith and good works and a hopeful spirit around the church and in the community. Have the courage to tell the world that there's a better way, a way that involves embracing God's great love. And do me a favor. Between now and the next time I stand in this pulpit, do me a favor. Bear some fruit. In the name of the triune God, bear some fruit. I don't think there's a day to waste. Let us pray.